Yes, rookie camp for the Philadelphia Eagles, day one. A lot to discuss here. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, press conferences, official jersey numbers, contracts, all of that stuff. We're going over it, so let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. I cannot talk today. I don't know why. But we're going to be talking about rookie camp day one. Okay, this is where the draft picks start to showcase themselves a little bit more. Guys that are trying out for this team and others as well. So there's a lot to discuss here. Now, the first thing I want to go over is the jersey numbers that are official for the draft picks for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jiad Campbell will be wearing number 30. Andrew McCubin, number 24. Ty Robinson, number 95. Mac McWilliams, number 22. Small Mundon Jr., number 42. Drew Kendall, 66. Kyle McCord, number 19. Miles Hinton, 78. Cameron Williams, 73. And Antoine Powell Ryland Jr., number 93. So those are your jersey numbers. Now, the biggest part of this day was, seeing Jiad Campbell. Not, these guys aren't fully suited up yet, but this is just rookie camp at this point. But was seen on the field, no helmet, no nothing. Let me tell you something, okay? We know that he's missing time. We've talked about it a million times. That shoulder, the surgery he had. By the way, he was walking through that tunnel, in the draft. I don't think there's an issue. I think the Eagles are being overprotective in a good way. This is positive. I'm hoping he doesn't miss any of training camp, but he will miss the remaining. He will miss, obviously, the remaining of rookie camp and some time there. And we'll see how much time he misses going into training camp. I'm hopefully not that much. Howie Roseman did talk about the injury a few days ago. They don't care how long they will wait. Like, they're so overprotected to the point where, and that's not a bad thing, because some teams just don't care and let guys play, and they end up re-hurting themselves. Okay, if he's like 98% healthy, they won't play him for 2 weeks. Like, that's how this team is sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that. You got to protect your expensive asset in your first round in Jiad Campbell, and that's what you got to do. I was happy to see him on the field. He's going to take some mental reps and see what happens with him. And hopefully we'll hear more news of how he's doing in another couple weeks. And we'll see what's going on going forward to training camp with Jiad Campbell. So we'll see what happens there. Now, speaking of linebackers, since Jiad Campbell will miss some time, and if he does miss time in training camp, but we talked about the contracts as well. But we're talking about the Georgia linebacker, Small Mundon, signs his 4-year deal for $4.595 million. Okay, now I know 4 rookies end up getting signed. I think the whole undrafted, the undrafted free agents were signed as well. So until I get some of the other numbers for some of the draft picks, we'll kind of go over them as the days go on. But Small Mundon, another guy's going to have a lot of opportunity. Okay, I like how Fangio has been getting average to below average size type players, maybe undersized at times, but have a lot of versatility, whether it comes into coverage, and in Small Mundon's case, downhill, in coverage, sideline to sideline speed. And that's what you're going to get out of him. And I think this is one of the most underrated draft picks we have from this draft. I think we have to pay a lot of attention to this kid as well. So feel really happy about that. And I like the depth at linebacker even more because, Ben Van Simmeren obviously is going to be playing full-time fullback. Trotter Jr. will get another opportunity. And I think Fangio really does like Trotter Jr. But competition in those depth spots. And then once we get to joint practices with other teams, the preseason games, everything's going to change even more. So it's going to be really exciting. Now, we're going to be talking about our 5th round pick in Drew Kendall, okay, the center that we end up getting. Plays a lot of center and, can play guard if needed be. Looks like the Eagles are keeping him as a center as of right now. Heard from Drew Kendall from his press conference and talked about how he's looked up to Jason Kelce as one of the best centers in the league, obviously. Well, not in the league anymore, but has looked up to him the last few years. This is a guy now that has purely more reps at center than probably a lot of the offensive linemen that were in this draft. Okay. This way you don't have to move Land Dickerson to that center spot. Now you have somebody now that you could groom and Stoutland University for the next few years, and kind of get him on a good path. You know what I mean? A guy that can, that you don't have to expend anybody else. Like Dickerson, you remember that game last year where Juergens was hurt and Juergens was hurt and Dickerson was hurt and it wasn't a mess, but you don't want to kind of shake up your offensive line too much. It gives Dickerson a rest to where he doesn't have to worry about playing another position. You groom a guy for a few years here. So I liked his comments. I liked his statements. I think this is a guy in over 300 something snaps, hasn't given up a sack in his college career. And God knows what he's going to do for the Philadelphia Eagles. The back end of this draft was probably, besides Jiad Campbell, Makuba, there's a lot of good draft picks in this draft. But that back end of the draft was a lot of value for the Eagles, especially for the offensive line. And Drew Kendall is definitely part of that. Won't get playing time obviously this year, but we'll learn a lot and we'll just get better over time. And that's all we really need. He should be ready by next season, but if you need him this year, you never know when you're going to need him. Hopefully not. Same for Miles Hinton from Michigan. This is another guy I think is going to make a big push. Okay. A lot of familiarity with the team, a lot of guys that he does know. He knows Trevor Keegan because he was at Michigan. Now he knows McKee as well because he was a Stanford transfer to Michigan. So knows a lot of guys on that squad as well. Could be your right tackle of the future. I think we all have to pay attention to Miles Hinton for taking that right tackle spot because realistically for your swing tackles right now, Fred Johnson left in free agency. Kendall Lamb, they signed a 33-year-old tackle that is coming off an injury last year. So I get why they went this direction. Lane's only here for another couple years. You know what I mean? So you really have to try to find that piece. And I think from an athletic standpoint for his size, his pulling, physicality. The one thing I can say that what they draft in the trenches on offense and what Fangio does with that defense is that they draft tough, high motor type guys. And I have to respect that a lot. I think Hinton's going to be a big hit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Wait another year or two, and I think you're going to see some good things. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have that on the back burner. Like I said, a guy that they're going to groom, a guy that they're going to build up, and might be the future right tackle. The Eagles don't have to go into free agency and spend a lot of money there, on offensive line, because they do a hell of a good job drafting guys and producing them, as the seasons go on, as the weeks go on. So I think Miles Hinton is going to be a big draft steal for the Eagles in the future, and I think we're all going to see it in front of our eyes. Now, we had some press conferences as well from Mac McWilliams, from UCF, the fifth-round pick corner, that I think a lot of Eagle fans were just like, about that pick. And I kind of was like that too. But you needed depth at corner regardless. Plays outside, plays inside. Most likely, the Eagles are bringing him in as an inside corner, Avonte Maddox is not there. There's nobody behind Cooper DeJean, he had his press conferences, he's been picked on, and I think part of it is in the conference that he plays in. If he was a little bit bigger as well, he probably would have been drafted a lot further up into this draft, unfortunately, because he is a small corner. But he explained at his press conference that he plays a lot bigger than what he is. And that's the type of guys the Eagles want. And they got a guy like that now. He has done against the best receivers in college, and Ted McMillan and Travis Hunter, and he's done a pretty good job. And he had a really strong Senior Bowl as well. So there's a lot of flash with this player right now as a small corner. And yes, I know, his size and Eagle fans weren't really happy about it, but I think we have to give this man a chance to see what he could do. That's why we have a training camp. This is why we have the off-season program, and we need as many corners as possible to really step up. That number 2 spot is going to be interesting, but inside has been one of our biggest weaknesses until Cooper DeJean arrived by week 4, week 5 last year as a full-time starter. So I think, there's a lot of good things to take out of this pick. Wasn't a big fan of it when it happened. I thought the Eagles should have maybe went a Jadon Blue from Texas at running back when it was right in front of our faces, and they decided to go corner. And we needed corner. I perfectly get it. I understand. So we'll see how that goes with him. But as well as guys not getting drafted for size, these are the type of guys like Mac McWilliams that are going to have a chip on their shoulder during training camp. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. That Antoine Powell Jr., that kid from Virginia Tech, that edge rusher that literally was joked on for having small arms. Like, these are the guys that are going to show up even harder than some of the other guys because, they're being doubted right now. These guys are totally being doubted. And I think we got to pay more attention to that. So I like the attitudes coming out of some of these guys. All they have to really do is prove me wrong and prove me that they can show it on the field. And, I think this draft could be a lot more successful. I think you have 3 good players. The first 3 picks I think are wonderful. And then there's some there that I think you could maybe hit on 5-6 players in this. I'm not even kidding. I mean, it's almost insane. You could probably hit on 5-6 players from this draft. A lot of talent there. Now, the Eagles actually brought in a punter for a tryout, which is really interesting. Okay. If I could say his name right. So, Kai Kroger, okay, rookie, South Carolina, 3rd in the country. Okay. I thought they signed Braden Mann to a 2-year. I mean, it doesn't mean they can't get out of the contract, but I thought last year he had a 2-year extension. I thought he's on contract this year. I know that. So they bring in another punter. I didn't see them bring in another kicker yet, which they had interest apparently in kickers. They never brought one in as an undrafted free agent or anything. Maybe there is a tryout kicker right now. We just haven't heard his name yet. I'm not sure, but they bring in another punter now. I think Braden Mann's been pretty good, honestly. I really do like him. So I don't think they've really missed on him too much. Michael Clay has done a good job. I think special teams is going to have a lot of changes. I know you changed your long snapper, obviously, and you're going to have 2 new kick returners, and you're going to have a new punt returner. And the Eagles have brought in a lot of speed / specialist type guys that won't necessarily get playing time, but will be able to, put themselves in a position to contribute to special teams if need be. So this is going to be an interesting situation. I'm actually pretty shocked another kicker is not here right now, just to be honest. I thought Jake Elliott left on a high note when it came to the Super Bowl, but before that, it was like 5 straight games with 5 missed field goals. So can't do that either, or extra points, whatever. 5 missed kicks, I'll say. So a new punter there. Now, a guy that didn't get a contract, which I'm kind of surprised right now, okay, is Giles Jackson from Washington, the Mr. Can-Do-It-All for end-arounds and screen passes. He's just a speed receiver that could kick return, that could almost do anything. I'm surprised he's not signed. I mean, I'm just saying, hey, how is he not even a special teamer at this point? They must have been practicing that. I mean, there's more days, so we'll see what happens. I don't think these guys can get a contract now, but he's not signed yet. So I kind of want to wait a little bit and see who else kind of gets picked up here. But your undrafted free agent class was signed, and obviously 4 of your draft picks were signed as well. And by the time we're talking tomorrow or the next day, everybody will be signed, ready to go, and we'll be on our way. So other than that, that's pretty much it. That was our day 1 of Eagles camp. So far, we'll have more news obviously the next day. Obviously when camp happens on the day, I won't put out a video that day because I already have a video out from the day before. So just bear with me on these times right now. So but other than that, guys, let me know what you guys think about some of the draft prospects and who you're excited for. And Jiad Campbell, the big question is, when is he coming back? Is he going to miss training camp? Is he going to be back before that? You guys let me know in the comment section below. And I think there's a lot to look forward to here. I think there's a lot of excitement, a lot of players I'm excited for. And the Eagles, I feel like, have got some undrafted free agent steals and I think they're going to hit on, I think by the time the next 2 years comes by, at least a year and a half to 2 years, I think more of these draft picks. I think this draft is going to be one of the most successful hits you're going to have in Howie Roseman since Nick Sirianni has been here. So it's going to be really interesting what happens. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously in a lot of ways. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Chicks, what up? Follow side. Peace out, guys. Bye.